Well, it only took me 4 years, but here I am back with mediocre reviews about fantastic music. Welcome to the channel. My name is Ray Ronan. This is Ray Ronan Does Music. I do reviews, lists, discography deep dives, all that kind of stuff related to things and stuff related to pop punk, metalcore, post-hardcore, other genres within the scene and outside of the scene into the mainstream. It really just varies on the week, really. It's really anything I can get my grimy little goblin hands on, and you know what I just realized? It's been nearly 3 years since I uploaded anything on this channel with my face, since I uploaded a review. I think the last one was it Avatar? Well, that's an answer. You know, I just realized it is it's still the middle of a pandemic, so you know, should probably do one of these. Look like I have Dumbo ears. Let's get rid of that. Regardless, today's unfortunate subject of my reviewing expertise, if you can call it that, is Go for Gold from Arkansas, United States, with their EP Color Me. And let's just fucking get into it. I actually reviewed these guys a couple years ago back with their old EP, Stranger, I believe it was called. Let me check my script. Yes. And it was a very rushed review. It was one that I'm definitely not proud of, and I wish I could go back and delete. But you know what? You can't move on from the past if you don't acknowledge your mistakes, and that's exactly what I am, looking at that as a big mistake. So that's what that is. And instead of rushing through this review and giving it just barely any time at all, I'm going to be going track by track with this EP. I'm not going to be doing that with every review going forward, but you know, I'm doing that now to not only make up for the rushed product that I put out last time with the Color Me, but just hopefully give a good introduction to what's hopefully a new era on this channel. But I'm just babbling. It's 2.5 minutes into my recording session. God knows how long the video, so let's just get into the music. Let's go with the first track here on this EP. The introduction track here takes their mission statement of familiarity within pop-punk sounds and just throws it into a wood chipper in the best fucking kind of way. There's some sounds really reminiscent of Trash Bow and some other similar, like, angsty pop-punk bands on the angry side of the genre. The ferocity and the addition to the formula that, again, bands like Trash Boat, we just talked about, really add into the scene that you don't see as much as you'd think. You know, you hear about bands like, again, that band, Story Untold, Story So Far. You hear that aggressive pop-punk, but you don't really see it as widespread in the, I guess you could call this band a smaller band, as what Go for Gold does here. They don't take the normal sort of almost stereotypical approach that smaller pop-punk bands do, with, you know, the typical whiny December neck-deep-esque of sounds. They, again, build on that familiarity, especially with this opening track, and let you not only dig your heels in with the sound here, but you get accustomed to their own custom sound that they made with the bits and pieces of pop-punk culture. Not only is the formula here just something you can pick up and just dive right into, the drumming is outstanding on this first track. Really just keeping up the pace, establishing its own pace, developing upon it, and creating a pace for the entire band to follow suit for. Really, throughout this whole EP, drumming is some of my favorite parts. Drummer of Go for Gold, thank you for existing. All of you, thank you for existing, but drummer, got my eyes on you. I'm gonna buy you a pizza pie. Not to mention the great efforts by the guitar, the bass, again, the vocals, very reminiscent of the ferocity in pop punk. The guitar and bass not only keep up their pace, but establish their own pace, and pacing towards the end with just an incredible cap off to the first song. Like, the ending to the song, if you can only listen to one part of the song for some stupid reason, if you can only listen to one part of the song, this is the part of the song you need to focus on, because that ending, mwah, beautiful. And going off of the crash-like crescendo that the ending to the song offers, the next song, this is your perfect starting point with the band if you don't just want to go with the lead single and you want to go something that feels more akin to what a pop-punk band may offer you, and again, the stereotypical terms, not quite the whiny, neck-deep stuff that I mentioned earlier, but something akin to like some Matt Skiba era Blink-182, you know, swooping vocals, the choruses and the bridges just going all over the place, up and down the scales. That's the kind of thing that Forget About It gives you. I was really just kept just on the edge of my seat. I don't know if I've mentioned this yet in this part of the review. You know, I'm just kind of working from a script, trying to do my best. I'm sorry if I'm skipping all over the place here. But again, I was on the edge of my seat this entire time, wondering, okay, is he going to hit a high note next? Is he going to mix it up? The vocal range from the singer on this is an incredible thing to hear. Because usually with pop punk, for better or for worse, you get two ends of it. You get the, you know, the whiny, or you get the fucking angsty. You know, it's one or the other. But this guy, he can pull off both in such a great way that I don't know how people take this long to discover Go for Gold. They can become a staple of the scene very easily with music like this. Just 2 songs into the EP, and we got 2 relentless bangers. It's unbelievable. I love it. Third song on the album, Greenlight, gives off some Neck Deep vibes, but not quite the December one. We're getting some more like punchy, some All Hype No Heart, some threat level Midnight type stuff. The straight Welsh angst influenced stuff that you can never go wrong. It's that nice fusion that the band gives off, wrapped up in a nice little package that Go for Gold is giving you right here. And honestly, I at this point in the album, I came to appreciate the consistency with the drum tracks. Like, they did what seemed to be the most work on this album. Like, everybody's absolute time with this album. Everybody is putting in some great work. But the drumming, again, I cannot underestimate just the almost... I dare not quite there because I hate using this word, but it's almost perfection with the pop punk technique that the drummer is giving off here, and it's incredible. I sound like Donald Trump hyping up a political thing right now, but it's just incredible. It's fantastic. But again, the drumming, it's keeping up with the vocals and then coexisting and coalescing, combining with the vocals towards around the 2-minute mark. You can really feel them coexist in a beautiful way. I had to rewind a few times just to appreciate that sound fully and really just understand what's going on there. Halfway through, with no signs of a bad track, Tone offered yet another unique introduction bit with some strumming of the guitar, hopping back and forth, and surprisingly, it took me this long into the album to find my first and so far only real complaint with the album. With all the pop punk influence and familiarities and things that you're so used to, you know, you can expect a lot of different bands, a lot of different takes on the genre and what Go for Gold does here. And while this is normally good, I'm not saying this is bad, but while this is normally expected and wanted in a pop-punk album, the momentum just kicks up out of nowhere. And it took me aback in a way that just kind of made me say you're like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing now. You know, it took me off guard. It took me away from the music for a second there. You got this kind of almost hesitant energy in the way that, like, they're yelling it out. They're belting out the chorus and the verses, sort of like the Wonder Years. There are songs like the ending of Cigarettes and Saints or chorus of Pyramids of Saul, you know, that really, like, almost, again, just yelling type of vocals and energy there. That's the kind of vibe that Tone gives off at this point in the album. And of course, as soon as I say that's the only criticism I have to offer, the next song I had a bit of an issue with because I'm inconsistent. This album, however, is not inconsistent at all. It keeps great measure, it keeps a good grasp on the identity all throughout, and I almost feel bad criticizing it, but I mean, it wouldn't be a review if I offered, you know, if I didn't offer some kind of, like, you know, look at things at some points. And that's when this next track really offers the next little bit of, you know. Hate to See You Go is solid. It's a song that I enjoy listening to, but if I'm tight on time and I can only pick a couple songs from this album, I'm probably gonna pick Tone and the last song in this album, which I'm going to get to in just a moment, because the only real part that sticks out to me, per se, is the last, like, 45 seconds of the song, because it pulls you back in. The song is good, it's pop punk, you know, it keeps the energy going, but up until that point, the song is just kind of like, okay, we're doing this again, we're doing same thing again. It's good, but it's not quite as good as the rest of the album. That's where it almost leans into a bit of a letdown status there. And while the tempo change towards the end might be the only real saving grace for it, there is a good positive factor about this. This is one of the songs that it really feels like it's truly Go for Gold. It's not inspired by any other band. It's not, you know, it's not somebody can't go up to you and be like, oh, this is just a ripoff of Neck Deep. You know, somebody can't, oh my god, the light is doing its best. You know, someone can't just go up to them and be like, hey, this is a ripoff of Neck Deep song, or this is a ripoff of the Wonder Years. None of these songs are ripoffs. But you can completely ignore that, because this really does feel like one of the more originally, soulfully Go for Gold songs on here. It's fully them, and while you all get pop punk inspirations as a little bit in there, from start to finish, you can't really nail down a specific inspiration, which really makes the song have its own identity, and I really love that. It feels kind of weird coming this late in the EP, but again, it's not bad, it's not a terrible thing, it's not even particularly a miss. This is a positive thing away from the bad thing of just kind of, you know, it's a pop punk song, it's good. It's coming away from that and forging Go for Gold's own identity with that song. And bouncing off that and ending that there's nothing wrong with taking cues or, you know, taking inspirations from other bands. That's where Go for Gold really finds their strength in this album, is taking inspiration from other bands and sort of building off of that, building on top of that, adding their own layers inside the layers, that type of thing. And that's just really all I can really say about that. But we're at the last song here, and Loser, this one carves out its own story as well, and it's probably, I'm going to say, it's a spotlight track of this album. It's the best track of this album. You want one song You want one song that's going to pull you in if you're a blind pop punk fan. If you're not even a pop punk fan, you want a song that's going to pull you in and take you for a ride. This is your song. Loser is, without a doubt, my favorite Go for Gold song. I've listened very briefly to, of course, their Stranger EP, which I reviewed, their 2019 album. I think it was Daydreamer or Daybreaker. I want to say Daydreamer. And Loser just absolutely blows them all out of the water. It has every single element that I've loved so far, and it just pumps it up a notch in a good way. Not so much in the sudden notch change that Hate to See You Go does. It has anthemic qualities, like from Threat Level Midnight by Neck Deep, or Secrets from State Champs. It has a sort of belting choruses that belong in a car ride down the interstate, on the beach, at a concert off the PA while you're waiting for the next band to come on. This is what the genre is all about, this song here. It manages to take the previously discussed idea of standing on your own. It combines that with inspirations into the perfect circle, if you may, of what makes this band work so well. Managing their own identity while also managing to wear their inspirations on their sleeve, both literally and metaphorically. I bet you at least one of these guys has a pop punk tattoo. You can't tell me no. If Go for Gold, if you're watching this, I want to bet that at least one of you has a pop punk tattoo, and I bet it's Blink-182. I'm taking bets on that. If I'm wrong, dislike the video. Please don't, actually. I need all the reach I can get now. And as much as I love to keep just belting on and saying the positive things about this, if I kept saying more positive things, I'd be both unfortunately and kind of fortunately regurgitating the same praise I've been giving all throughout the album. Because this album is fantastic, but it's the same level of fantastic, so I can't just really keep saying, like, oh, I really like what they did with the verse, because I'd just be saying the same thing over and over again. That's not what you want to hear. You know, I can say this album's great once, and that gets the point across, and I'll say it again. This album is great. So that brings us to the grading portion of this album. Let's get into the end here. Just to make sure I don't fuck this up, I'm maybe looking directly at the script. I apologize for that. My eyes are going to go from here all the way to over here. Sorry. Yeah, I was absolutely thrilled to sit down with the guys in Go for Gold yelling and pounding away at their instruments in my ears, seeing as though I've been feeling kind of bad about the review I did for Stranger, kind of going back to the beginning of this video. I rushed through it. I didn't really give them a proper chance. I just kind of listened to it. I took it at face value. What I usually like to do with albums, especially EPs, is I listen to them a few times. Usually for full albums, I'll give it 3 listens at least. For EPs, I'll do like 4 or 5, you know, depending on length. But I felt like that was really rushed review, and like I said, I delete it. But you gotta learn to go from your mistakes, to learn from them, and to improve upon them. And shit, if Go for Gold has ever made mistakes, they took them, beat the piss out of them, and created this wonderful record that we have here today that's sitting in front of me. Well, the review that's sitting in front of me, I should say. Daydreamer was a great LP. I listened to it a few times off and on, but Color Me is the first release from Go for Gold that I can see myself listening to day in, day out. It's already making regular, there's a word for that, rotations on my playlist, from my Scene on Fire playlist featuring some smaller artists, which I'm going to link in the description, by the way. You need to check that out. A lot of great guys were on there, including Go for Gold. Hey. With this EP, Go for Gold does what a lot of bands strive to do year after year, tour after tour, 6 packs of White Claw after 6 packs of White Claw. They not only take their inspirations and wear them on their sleeves again, but they carve out and evolve the concept and make great songs that very rarely tend to fall short. It's a solid EP and a sign of great things to come in the upcoming years. If Warped Tour is still a thing, Go for Gold would absolutely be on there on the Full Sail stage, or fuck, give them a couple years, they could probably be on the Journey stage, for all you know. You know, it's a wild world, you know, in a world where Warped Tour still exists. But this is a band you absolutely need to check out if you haven't already. And with coming to the end of this, you know, 18 minutes into my recording session, hopefully this is closer to like 12 minutes tops. Let's get the grading section in. If you need some new pop punk in your life, this is what you need, because I'm happy to give this a 3.9 out of 5. If you don't like 0.5 out of 5 ratings, which is what I like to do for EPs and not full albums, consider this a 7.8 out of 10. But regardless, this was my review of Go for Gold's album Color Me. Hopefully it's a little better than the one I gave you guys last time. Again, I'm so sorry for that. I hope you guys like this one better. And to anybody watching this, thank you for watching. I'm pretty sure this is going to be my first video back on my music channel, Ray Rono Does Music. Oh god, the light keeps... Is this better? Is this better? I can't tell. Regardless, thank you so much for watching. Again, check these guys out. You definitely need to check them out. Hopefully more reviews and lists are going to come. I can't make any guarantees, but you know, one can hope. I have been Ray Rono Does Music. You have been my unwilling audience. Check out the band and their social medias down below. Check out the album in question at the Spotify link down below. Check out my Facebook page if you want updates. Or do none of that. Regardless, thank you so much for watching. See you guys next time. Hopefully it's not 2 years in between videos this time. That'd be bad.